Good evening, everybody, and welcome to 1 Hour, One Painting. We've been fortunate to collaborate with author and critic Peter Clothier on this series for many years. You can find Peter's bio on our website. He's an internationally known writer who's been involved in the art world in many capacities for most of his life. And Peter kindly agreed to transition this program to a virtual format while the museum remains closed to the public. Thank you so much, Peter.
Well, thank you, Marinta. It's great to see you again. And yeah, delighted to be back and delighted to be welcoming some old hands and some newcomers to 1 Hour, One Painting. It's something I've been doing, as you know, for some 25 years now. And I think it's worth just going back to mention the origins. I'm sorry for those of you who've heard this before, but I think it's worth mentioning to those who are new to the session. It started out back a long time ago. I used to be, in my younger days, a critic for national magazines. And I found myself going to galleries and museums in preparation for reviewing shows and kind of walking through as we normally do, and taking a look at the paintings and then looking at taking a closer look at the label and perhaps even spending more time with the label than I was with the painting. And it began to worry me, not a little, that I wasn't really looking at what I was writing about. And at the same time, I was beginning to learn about meditation. And it occurred to me that it might not be a bad idea to combine that practice with the practice of contemplation. So meditation is closed eye, internal work. Contemplation, obviously, is open eye observation work. And you can contemplate a candle, a religious icon, or even a painting. So I decided that I would try this, and I did. And the first painting I ever tried was de Kooning's Montauk Highway at the Los Angeles County Museum. And I did that with a group of museum associates. And I was worried back then about the possibility that everyone would be horribly bored after 5 minutes and start looking at their watches. And as it turned out, people thoroughly enjoyed the hour. They stayed for the full hour. And I've been doing it ever since. I love to do it. It's a great way to look at paintings. The painting that we're going to be looking at, it's a painting by Wayne Thiebaud, and it is currently in the exhibition at Laguna Art Museum. Wayne Thiebaud, Clowns. And it is a truly wonderful exhibition. I must say, I went there not expecting anything very much, anything very special. And I was absolutely bowled over by this exhibition by an artist of now 100 years old, a well-known artist. And this work was, I found, quite extraordinary. So let's take a look at that painting. It's called Clown and Ballerina. And it was painted, as Wayne Thiebaud often does, over a period of several years, reworking it, I think over a period of 4 years. So let me tell you a little more about 1 Hour, One Painting. If you can begin already to concentrate on this painting, just start looking. Let your eye run over it while I talk. It does involve, as I said, meditation and contemplation. And for those who have no experience in meditation, I'd like to give just a brief introduction to that skill. What I'd like to invite is for you to close your eyes and just bring your attention to the breath. Just be very comfortable with the breath. No need for any effort, any special kind of breathing. Just notice the quality of the breath as it enters and leaves the body. Let's say a word or two about distractions as we continue to breathe. Many people say, oh, I could never meditate because my mind is too busy. Well, my mind is busy too. And I'm sure yours is. What we do is we become aware of the distractions, no matter what kind of distractions they are. They can be physical distractions. The telephone may ring, although I would encourage you to switch off your cell phone for this session. The dog may bark. The traffic may pass outside. There are all kinds of physical sensations that you might need to notice. Physical discomfort too. I do encourage you to sit as still as you can. Slouching and fidgeting are distractions in themselves. So try to sit with a good straight back. Hands in a comfortable position, eyes closed, and concentrating exclusively on the breath. You might notice how the body wants naturally to energize with the in-breath and to relax completely with the out-breath. So just get in tune with the pleasure of that sensation for a moment. Eyes still closed. And when we do open our eyes, remember that the breath continues to be the anchor. If you find yourself getting distracted, just notice the distraction and bring your attention gently back to the breath. Whether your eyes are open or your eyes are closed, the breath is always the anchor. So now, open your eyes and take a look at the painting on the screen in front of you. It's a different experience, of course, looking at the pixels that form a photographic image, rather than the actual painting on the museum wall. But I invite you to do what you can to be with the painting. Eyes open, fully attentive. Let's take a scan of the entire image. You could start at the top, start at the bottom, or start at either side. Scan the image for what it is. Not interpreting, not naming, just scanning what is there. The entire surface of the painting. You want to be as attentive as possible. You can even think of the human eye mind as being akin to the scanner on your printer. Taking in every last detail. And when you've scanned the entire surface of the painting, just pull back, take a snapshot of the entire image, and close your eyes. And breathe. Relaxing back into meditation. And from this place, try to reconstruct in the mind's eye that entire image. In as much detail as you can muster. Eyes still closed. Take a moment to consider how much the mind's eye has recalled. And open your eyes. And come to rest on the surface of the painting. Make a note of where exactly your eyes have naturally come to rest. Perhaps on some particular detail. Let your eyes rest in attention to that detail. And to the area immediately surrounding it. Just a small area. Enough to remember in great detail. And take a snapshot of that very small area and close your eyes again. And breathe. In the mind's eye, recall that small area of the painting, again in as much detail as you can. eyes closed, reconstructing that small area of the painting. And let's open our eyes again and return to the painting. And bring our attention for a few moments to the function of line. Start at the bottom of the painting, looking at the mat on which the clown is standing. Follow the line of the dark blue interior area of that mat. Follow it slowly from one end to the other. And the same with the light green line at the edge of that mat. Goes from one side of the painting to the other. Just follow that line closely with your eyes. If you go too fast, start back again, going slower. Bringing all of your attention to that one detail. And the same with the orange line at the bottom of the curtain. Very slow, very attentive to the detail. Where what you're looking at here is two lines. That define the color of that detail. And now move your attention to the figure of the ballerina. Follow the contour, follow the line that shapes the contour of that figure. Start at any point, but just make the complete tour. Follow that circuit, the line that defines her body. Remembering to breathe. Remembering if anything comes along to distract from your attention, to bring the attention back to the breath and back to the object of your contemplation. not looking at the figure, you're looking at the lines that define the figure. Be aware of that difference. Lines, of course, need not be sharply defined. Take a look at the lines that define the curtain, those bright bluish greenish lines, the vertical lines that define the folds of the painting. Choose one of those lines to follow as closely as you can, in as much detail as you can, top to bottom. And now choose one line, any line in the painting, to commit to memory, to retain in the mind's eye. Perhaps a line we have not yet looked at. Move along the length of that line, committing it to memory. And when you're done, close your eyes and breathe. And allow that line to resonate in the mind's eye. Breathing in and breathing out. Feeling that energy flood the body with the in-breath and feeling the whole body relax with the out-breath. Again, notice the pleasure of that sensation. And let go of that line. Allow the mind to return to a blank sheet. Nothing there. And when you're ready, open your eyes. This time, let's choose a shape. Let's choose, for example, the shape of the mat. Notice the distinction between the shape and the line. The line defines it, but it is not the shape. The shape is something different, something all its own. Notice the shape of the mat. Notice that shape in relation to the shapes of the background behind it. The large green square of the curtain. That rectangular shape in the top 1/8 of the canvas. The shape of the ballerina. Notice her shape in comparison with and in distinction from the shape behind her. And notice the shape of the clown beneath her foot. So now we've looked at 5 distinct shapes on the surface of the canvas. Let's close our eyes, return to the breath, and try to recall those shapes in relation to each other. The mat, the curtain, the fringe of the curtain, the ballerina, clown. Put all those shapes together into the overall composition of the painting. As you recall that composition in your mind's eye, don't forget to breathe in and out. Relaxing with the out breath. And letting go of that whole image in the mind's eye. Bring your attention to your own eyes. And use the breath to refresh them. To give them a rest. They have been working hard already. They deserve a rest. The eyes sometimes need cleansing. Think of that process as taking place. And you're ready. Open your eyes. Come back to the Let your eyes come to rest on the point that you think is closest to you, if you imagine this scene. Let your eyes move back, as it were, to what seems to be furthest as you observe the scene. Allow yourself to reconstruct the spatial depth of the image. Allow yourself, as it were, to breathe in that space. To be in that space with your eyes. breathing in with the depth of the space. And you might consider also the volume of the figures. Take the clown. Notice how the volume of that figure is established in the paint. How that tiny shadow of the foot on top of the head creates volume, suggests volume. Shading of the chin. The shape of the ruff around his neck. How all those things establish volume. And consider the figure of the ballerina. Even as it knows that the elements that compose this figure lie flat on the surface of the canvas. The paintwork itself invites the eye to construct a volume. And not only to construct a volume, but to suggest the movement of that volume in space. Perhaps in your mind's eye, you can set that body in motion. You can imagine the body in motion. And close your eyes and bring the attention back to the breath. And consider your own body. The four limbs. And their digital extensions. the torso. The head. Breathing in, breathing out. And in this full awareness of your own body, bring your attention back to the painting, eyes open. So that you're aware of your own physical presence, as you would be aware of the physical presence of this painting were we to see it on the wall of the museum. Imagine it there in much grander scale. Imagine it as a presence. It might help us in doing that to think about the texture of the paint. If you can get a little closer to your screen while still breathing, while still maintaining your presence, take a few moments to consider the texture of the paint. The paint, for example, in the light blue area of the mat. See how that paint swirls and moves. How it varies in depth from rather high ridges to lower depths. And the same in the mauve area immediately above it. In the ruffle at the bottom of the curtain. Breathing in, breathing out. Consider how the texture of paint is used to define the shape of the ballerina. and consider how that texture lends presence to the painting, gives it a physical presence, lends it physicality. Let's close our eyes again. Take a few moments to reconnect with that physicality of our own bodies, with the breath. See if you can reconstruct the physicality of the painting. And open your eyes. We would not want to leave this painting, of course, without a consideration of color. Let's look at that central green square that predominates the background of the painting. Comparing the tonality of that color with that of the vertical lines that define its folds. Take a moment to register the color of those red shapes at the top. Just work along the line of those folds. And take note of the variations, the subtleties of color in that one range of red. Bring your attention down to the lower half of the painting and consider that mauve area of flooring underneath and behind the mat. Take a moment to consider where else in the painting that color occurs. not only in the figure of the ballerina, but more subtly in that of the clown. And the same in those colors that define the area of the mat. The two blues, dark blue, light blue. Where else in the painting do these occur? Where do we see rhymes of color? And take a moment to enjoy the extravaganza of rhyming color in this painting. The playful relationships of color. And consider how the color alone works to establish an emotional component for the painting. You might pause for a while to consider what that emotional quotient might be. What are the feelings the painting evokes? What are the feelings you might project into it? And close your eyes. And spend a few moments connecting with those emotions. As you experience them in painting, as you experience them in your life. immerse yourself fully in those emotions. Breathing in, breathing out. And open your eyes one last time. I usually end my 1-hour-1 painting sessions inviting participants to find some special surprise in the painting, some detail that had simply escaped their notice, even in almost an hour of looking at it. Like every good painting, it will always have surprises every time you come back to it. So just notice one now. One, something new. One surprise. One special pleasure. And with that takeaway, close your eyes for one last time. And take a few especially pleasurable breaths. Letting go of the painting. Thanking your eyes for all the work they've done. And gently reconstructing the entire image in the mind's eye. And that, my friends, is 1 hour, 1 painting. Feel free to open your eyes, rest with the painting a while longer. And I hope that you'll be back for another session next time we meet at Laguna Art Museum. In the meantime, when this show opens to the public, as I surely hope it will, I do very much hope that you will go to see it. It is an absolutely spectacular and a very important show. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again.